Okay, Paul, what do we have here?
Well, we've got a big, heavy McIntosh solid-state power amp.
Tell me about
100 and some odd pounds worth. I take it out of the case, but it takes all day to unpack it and repack it. Big, pretty thing. It's got all new LED lighting, which is a tedious job. Got it working. Had to test it to make sure everything's okay. And what I've done is put my audio generator into the amp. Got my scope, got my dummy loads. And let me turn the levels up on the amp, and we should have a waveform. There we go. That's about 35 or 40 volts across an 8 ohm load. It's pretty good wattage. Nice and clean.
I bet it could heat up that resistor.
They will. They will heat these resistors. Let's turn up the other channel. Let me see. There we go. So we've got nice clean sine waves. Absolutely no sign of crossover distortion or clipping. But the way to really know if an amp is right is to put a square wave in it. And you switch this over to square wave and you get that. And if the amp is clean and flat, that's a flat waveform. You do the same thing with a preamp with bass and treble controls. In the mid position, the signal should be square. If there's spikes or rounding on the edges, that's the tone circuits boosting or cutting the response. But that's what you want, is a flat square wave response. And this is transformer output. Transistor with output transformers. That's damn good for a transformer, because transformers don't like square waves. But this sucker will deliver.
Okay. Well, tell me some more about how to work on this particular amp, or history of it.
This particular one, there's not a lot you can do with it. The driver boards are modular. Everything else is hand wired. And thank goodness all this one needed was light bulbs in the front panel. I'm trying to remember if I put light bulbs in this one. You pretty much have to use the light bulbs that you get off the internet, because LEDs do not work well in these face plates, because these plates are laminated, and you've got the black plate with the green filter, and then there's a clear plate behind it with holes drilled in it for the light bulbs, so as the light spreads. And light bulbs go sideways and forward. They light evenly. LEDs only face forward. They don't distribute very well. So I paid an arm and a leg for the special light bulbs for this one.
Now, how much is a McIntosh like this worth now?
This one, $3,000 to $4,000. Yeah, they're not
How old
cheap.
is it?
This is probably from the 70s or 80s. Probably from the 80s, early 90s. I've got an older one, and it's a little different from this, but...
Now, how much is a tube version of this worth?
Oh, they're way up there.
Yeah.
Way up there. I had some Mac 30s, some MC-30s that I sold for a few $100s years ago. They're going for $1,300 on eBay right now. I should have kept them. But this will deliver all the wattage you could ever want. It's dead silent. No hum, no hiss, no nothing. If you can afford it, that's the thing to own.